In this video, we're going to go over how to make custom Snoozable notifications for your Android device using Tasker and Auto Notification. Before we start, you're going to need 3 apps installed on your device: Tasker, Auto Notification, and Auto Apps. You can find links to all of these in the video description. So let's go ahead and load up Tasker. Before we get into it, we're going to go up to this menu, select Preferences, and make sure Beginner Mode has been disabled. Okay, now that that's done, let's go ahead and set up our example notification. First off, we need to create a new task, which we're going to call Reminder Notification. Then we're going to add an action, select Plugin, then Auto Notification, then Auto Notification again. Next, we click the little pencil icon to configure our notification. First, we select Updating and Persistency, and set our notification ID. This allows us to reference this notification when it's active, so it needs to be something unique. Since this is just an example, we're going to use Reminder Notification. Now personally, I prefer to require these reminders to have an action taken against them and not just be dismissible. To do that, we make sure Persistent is checked. If you want your notifications easily dismissible, do not check this box. Next, we're going to set the title of our notification and the text that will be displayed on it. We'll just title it Reminder, and then we'll have it say, "This is a test." Now we're going to go and configure the 2 buttons we're going to have on our notification, Done and Snooze. We'll do Done first. The label is the text that will be displayed on the button. Then we'll just set the icon for it. I'm going to select a nice checkbox. Now we'll set the action that happens when we press the button. This is what Tasker will listen for later. We're going to call it Dismiss. Then we're going to add equals after it. This lets Auto Notification know that we're also passing data that when the action is triggered will be assigned to variables. Since this button will end up dismissing the notification, we need to pass the notification ID we previously set so that it knows what to dismiss. Now that button's done. We'll repeat the same steps to set up the snooze button. We set the label, and then we select an icon. This time I'm going to select a clock. And then we set the action. Since the snooze is going to need to make the notification disappear for the snooze duration, we need to again pass the notification ID. We're going to be giving multiple pieces of information here, so we separate them with equals to differentiate. Next, we'll pass how long we want the snooze to last. For demonstration purposes, I'm just going to use 5 seconds. And finally, we need to give the Tasker task that shows the notification in the first place, as after the snooze is done, we need a way to make it show up again. And with that, our notification is set up. We click the check mark to commit our changes. Let's back out of our task, and then we'll create listener events to catch when we press the buttons on our notification. First, we'll catch the Done button. We create a new profile that activates on an event. We select Plugin, and then Auto Apps. Again, we click the pencil to configure the plugin. This is where we catch the actions we set for our notification buttons. So for our command filter, we're going to put the dismiss we set our button to and follow it with the equals. Next, we assign the data we pass from the action, in this case the notification ID, to a variable. We'll call it Reminder ID so it's easily identifiable. Our listener is now all configured, so we click the check to apply our changes. We then back out and create a new task that will be run when our listener gets triggered. This task will be what actually dismisses our notification. So we add a new action, select Plugin, Auto Notification, and then Cancel. Click the pencil to configure. Select ID, and then we put in our variable that we set with the notification ID. Check to apply. Almost done with this listener. Back out to the profile screen. We just need to rename our profile to something that makes a bit more sense. Long press on the profile name, then press the A icon up top to rename. There, that's a bit more readable. Now we'll repeat the steps to create a listener for our snooze button. New profile, select event, then plugin, then auto apps. Pencil to configure. Set the command filter to what we set the button action to, and then assign our variables. Check to apply, and then back out to create the task that gets triggered. First, we have to make our reminder disappear, so we follow the same steps we did for the dismiss task. Add task, plugin, auto notification, cancel, pencil to configure. Set ID to our variable. Check to apply. Now we need to make it wait our snooze length, so we add another action, this time selecting task and then wait. If we click this icon that looks like two paths crossing, it allows us to enter variables instead of using the slider. So click that and we enter our variable that has our snooze length. And then we need to call our notification back up. So we add another action, select task, and then perform task. And then for name we put in the variable for our task. Let's back out and check to apply our changes so far. Oh, we didn't rename our other listener, so let's just do that right now. There, that's better. Let's apply those changes again. Alright, our notification and listeners are all set up, so let's give this a try. Let's select our reminder notification. Then we click the play button to test fire it. There it is up top. Let's pull the drawer down and we can see our notification is there with both of our buttons. Let's click done, and as we can see the reminder disappears. Let's hit play again so we can test the snooze button. This time we'll click snooze. And there our reminder pops right back up again. Let's just click done so we don't see it again. Okay, that seems like a lot of work to go through every time we want to make one of these. Fortunately, we've laid the groundwork so that we can change this into a template that's easily duplicatable. Let's create a new task that will serve as a template for all of our reminders. Now we'll set variables for all the bits that might change between different reminders. We add a new action, select variables, and then variable set. Now Tasker only allows you to pass two variables when calling a task, so we're going to have to put all our variables into something called an array, which is like a list. To do this, we have to name our variables a special way. We use the variable name, followed by a number. The number indicates the position in the list, so reminder 1 would mean the first position in the reminder array. Since this is just going to function as a template, what the values of the variables are doesn't actually matter, as you'll change them every time you clone the template. What's important is that we check the label box and give this action a label. This leaves us a little note so that we can tell what we're actually supposed to set our variable to. Once our first one is done, just repeat the process for the remaining variables. Now you may notice that I've put snooze length in minutes as the label for the last variable. Realistically, you're more likely to want to use minutes than the seconds we used in our example. Later we will change our snooze task to use minutes instead of seconds to match our change here. Next, we are going to join the variables in the array. This will allow us to pass them all as one single variable. So let's add a new action, go to variables, and select variable join. For name, we give our array without adding any numbers to the end. The joiner is what is going to separate your different array values. It's important that you use something that you will not end up using in any of your reminder notifications, or will break your join in subsequent split. I've enabled the keyboard here so I can select a special character for this purpose. Next, we need to call our reminder notification task from before while passing our joined array as a parameter. So let's add a new action, select task, and then perform task. We then tell it to call our reminder notification with parameter 1 set as our joined array. Now we have to modify our reminder notification so that it makes use of all the information we're passing to it. First off, we set a new variable to the joined array we've passed as par1. So let's call our new array reminder array and set it to par1, which is what we passed from our template. Next, we split our array back into individual values. So we add a new action, variables, and then variable split. Here we enter our new array and then the joining character we used when making our template. I'm just going to label this to keep it concise. Now we're going to take those array values and assign them to individual variables. This will make things easier to read if we ever have to come back in and tinker with things. So here we're going to set the variable reminder text to the first value in our array. And then we repeat the steps for the remaining variables. Next, we need to rearrange our actions here so that the auto notification happens last. Otherwise, all our work with variables won't happen until after our notification fires. Long press the auto notification action and then select the cut icon at the top. Long press the last action on the list and select the paste icon at the top. Unfortunately, task group pastes stuff above the current selection, so repeat the steps to move our last variable set action to above the auto notification action. Now that everything is in place, we're ready to go in and replace the original values in our notification with our variables. Select the auto notification event and pencil to edit. First up is the notification ID, so select updating and persistency. Then select the ID and clear out what we had entered before. Then click the text to the right and select our reminder ID variable. Then back out and go to texts. Place the text value with our reminder text variable. Then to our first button. Select action and clear everything after the equals, and then select our reminder ID variable. Then to the second button to do the same thing. Clear everything after the equals, select our reminder ID variable, add another equals, select our reminder snooze variable, add another equals, and finally select the reminder task variable. Back out and check to apply. We're all done with this task, so back out to the tasks screen and check to apply our changes so far. Now we can go back to our snooze task and change it from seconds to minutes. If you'd rather define your snooze length in seconds, you can skip this step. Go into the snooze task and select the wait action. Click the paths crossing icon beside seconds to revert it to a slider. Then click the same icon beside minutes and select the reminder snooze variable. Back out to the task screen again and check to apply. Our template is now ready to use. Let's use it to create a reminder to take out the garbage. Long press the reminder template, select the three dots icon at the top, and select Clone. We'll call this Garbage Reminder. Now all we have to do is go in and change our variable values, so select the Garbage Reminder. This is where our labels come into play. They tell us what information needs to go into each variable. Let's set the first variable to our reminder's text. Then we'll set a unique ID for our notification. The name of this task. Value here needs to match the name of our task at the top. For testing purposes, we'll leave the snooze length at 1 minute. That's all we have to do. Back out to the tasks screen and check to apply. Now let's give this a try. Back into our garbage reminder and hit play to fire it off. There's our reminder at the top. Let's put it on the drawer and select Done. It disappears just like we want. Now let's fire it off again, this time hitting snooze. And now we wait. There it is. Let's just pull down the drawer and click Done to dismiss. Now it's not going to be very useful if we have to fire off our reminders manually. If you're able to remember to remind ourselves to do something, we'd be able to just remember to do it in the first place without a reminder. So let's create a trigger for our notification so that it knows when to fire off. Go to Profile, Add, select Day. Let's assume garbage day is a Monday. Select the month day drop-down and select Weekday, then select Monday. Back out to the profile screen. Select our garbage reminder task and rename the profile to something useful. Now, as it stands, this is going to fire as soon as it becomes Monday. Let's also add a time context so our phone isn't pestering us at midnight. Long press the Monday context and select Add, then select Time. Let's set our reminder to go off at 7 a.m. Set both the from and to values to 7 a.m. There, our reminder is now set to tell us to take out the garbage every Monday at 7 a.m. Let's just add one more tweak and change the snooze length to 5 minutes. As you can see, it's now very easy to make quick changes to our reminders or make new ones. Now that you have the base done, you can always extend by adding extra actions to your dismiss or snooze buttons or after your reminder notification. Tasker and auto notification are very powerful tools and I encourage you to explore everything they can do. You'll wonder how you did without them.